Hey gang, Brian McKittrick here, bringing you another sales skills video. In this presentation, we are going to be talking about the discovery questions for a health plan. So in this video, we're going to go through a sample sheet to show you the questions that we ask in order to gain the proper information to be able to make a recommendation based upon a client's health needs and budget needs for a good health plan. Remember, you've got several plan types: the Affordable Care Act, short-term medical, indemnity, and healthcare shared ministry. So this will help us to narrow down to present the one plan or possible two plans they can choose from. This is a sample sheet that's available in the download section. However, there's no encouragement to download and print these and write personal information on these sheets. Personal information should be stored in a secured area and only used as needed. Writing down personal information is not condoned by CMS nor the agency itself. So please do not keep any written information. Destroy that accordingly. This is only to be used as a sample, as a guide for training. So let's get started. So this is a format, and if you stick to this format, it'll help you to gather the information each time in a clear process. By eliminating variables in the sales process, you eliminate other ways that you are possibly losing the sale. So this will help you stay on track and a guideline to gather the information you're going to need to make a recommendation. So the first thing that we will need is to know who you're talking to, the client's name. Also, we'll get the phone number, the way to contact them for follow-up, or if the phone call was disconnected. Okay. The first question I ask somebody when we're looking for a health plan: is this policy for yourself or for a family? Family could also mean if it's a member plus spouse or a member plus child. Okay. You also need to know where they live. However, you do not need to know the full address. You only need to know the zip code. Okay. Possibly there are situations where a zip code overlaps different counties, so you could ask them the county name as well if you find that if that could be relevant. Okay? Different counties may have different plans. You should have the email address that sends the application link to them, as well as if you're going to have a presentation, a quote to send to somebody, that's how you get that to them. That's actually the most secure way and the best way I've found for proper presentation. They can share that with a spouse or somebody else who's a decision maker. Okay? So, who am I speaking with? How do I get a hold of them? Is the plan for yourself or for a family? They'll tell you. What zip code do you live in? The next question I like to ask is if they're currently covered. The reason for that is most people generally stick the same plan year over year. So during open enrollment, to know what type of plan they had before will help you better determine what to recommend going forward. Most people, the situation doesn't change that much year to year. It can, however, most people it does not, so knowing what they're currently covered gives you a good idea. If you're outside of open enrollment, if they have a plan loss scenario, this will also give you a good idea if they have a special enrollment. I always ask them how much they pay. If it's a price that I can beat, then you've got to win. This is what the client is currently paying, so that's how much they can actually afford. Okay? If you can save them money, then you've got a great reason for them to purchase your plan. If they will not tell you how much they're actually paying themselves, that's okay. Secondary question would be, are you paying over $250 a month? Okay? If they are currently covered, I always ask them who it is. Okay? That would also help you determine if it's an ACA plan, short-term medical, or a healthcare shared ministry. Okay? The next question to ask is health needs. So you're trying to determine if someone is healthy enough to buy an underwritten plan or if they need to stick with the ACA. Okay? So asking current health conditions, you're looking for a pre-existing condition. Even if no condition exists, asking the medications is also helpful, because if they take an expensive brand drug or an injectable drug, that could also sway the plan choice. The short-term medical and the healthcare shared ministry do not have a drug component as strong as an ACA plan, so that could also determine what type of plan you recommend. Okay? I skip down just a little bit and ask the annual income. The reason for this is if it's an ACA plan eligible, you want to find that out in the beginning as well. So at the bottom of this sheet, this reference sheet for you, there is a chart that shows the federal poverty level. The number to look at here is 300%. If it's higher than 300%, then we could look at a short-term plan, short-term medical, or a health care shared ministry. Okay? Usually at 300% or higher, they can afford to pay the premium on this plan. They're not getting much of a subsidy in this area, between 300 and 400%. So going higher than that, their short-term medical or health care shared ministry, as long as the health is there, would still be less expensive in most cases than the ACA plan. But if they fall in income in this range, you're going to go ACA. Okay, ACA is going to be anything between the 100 and 300 percentile. They get a subsidy in this range, and that would be a plan value very likely less than the healthcare shared ministry, especially if it's less than the 200%. Okay, anything over here is Medicaid. Medicaid, the state program, not Medicare, the federal program. Medicaid. Okay. All right. So back up to the top. After I've determined the income, so asking the health and the income is going to determine whether I go to an ACA plan or a healthcare shared ministry or a short-term medical plan. Okay, so it depends what benefits they're going to need. The next question I'm going to ask them is the dates of birth, or you can ask for the ages. Okay, so we are in an era of identity theft, and some of the prospects could be on guard to tell you what the actual dates of birth are, which is fine. That is personal identifiable information. You can do a quote with age and age alone. You just need the dates of birth for the application. So if the client does not want to give dates of birth, that's perfectly fine. Just take down the ages. And you want the age of anyone that's included to be in the plan. Okay? I will also ask if anyone uses tobacco. Okay? Smoker does not necessarily just mean tobacco. That could also include vaping. Vaping has nicotine in it. The insurance companies consider vape to also be in the tobacco range. So that would make a difference for the premium for an ACA plan, as well as a short-term medical. On healthcare shared ministry, like OneShare, they do not rate up for vape or tobacco use. However, they do not cover diseases that are related to that. Okay? And then this question over here, and the height and weight, you don't need to actually get the height and weight of each person yet. That is an application question for short-term medical. However, I will find out if anyone weighs 250 pounds or more. Okay, the reason for that is in a short-term medical, they do ask height and weight. By and large, if they weigh under 250, they should be okay. Now, if someone's just over 5 foot, weighs 200 pounds, they still might be in a scenario where they can be excluded from the plan or rated up. However, for the most part, 250 pounds or more would be the exclusion zone. Anything under 250 is usually okay. By asking that up front, you're eliminating the possibility of someone getting declined. Now, the purpose of this sheet is to eliminate the plans that they will not buy. So when you first get on the phone with a prospect, you have several options on the table. The Affordable Care Act, you have short-term medical, you have indemnity, and you have health care shared ministry. As you ask the questions, you are eliminating the plans that they won't buy. So let's go through that. Ask their name. Let's pretend we're talking to John. John lives in Fort Worth, 76137. Okay. I get a phone number for John, 817 whatever. Okay. Let's pretend he's going for a family of 4. So I'll write the 4 over here. Okay. We get an email. John says he's currently covered. He has Humana on a group plan. But he's been laid off. Let's say John pays about $900 a month for his plan. Okay? John, do you have any major health conditions for your family, or does anyone in your family take any medications? No, Brian, we're all healthy. So I would put no here. Okay, John, what are the ages and date of birth for each person to be covered? Well, I'm 40. My wife is 38. We have 2 kids that are 10 and 6. Okay, does anyone weigh over 250 pounds? No. Does anyone smoke or vape? No. Okay, John, I know you just had a job change, but do you expect to make, I'm going to scroll down here. You said 4 people. I'm looking at this number here. John, I know that you just lost your job, but do you expect to make less than $75,000 this year? No, Brian, my wife still works. We'll make more than $75,000. Okay, so now I've got an income higher than the 300 percentile. So they are healthy. So my recommendation could either be a short-term medical or a healthcare shared ministry. I've eliminated the ACA. But had John told me he makes less than this, I would say, okay, John, it's possible that you can get a discount on the premium based upon income. Could you be more specific about how much you expect to claim this year? Well, it looks like we're only going to make about $50,000. Okay, in that case, now the healthcare shared ministry and the short-term medical are not the most affordable option. The most affordable option for John now is ACA. Okay, if you're falling under the $75,000, the most affordable option is possibly the ACA. If it's above $75,000, we're looking at a short-term medical or healthcare shared ministry. Okay? The difference between those plans would be the preventive care. So if John is interested in having preventive care measures like vaccinations, physical, female visit, child well care, that would be a healthcare shared ministry plan. If he's okay going without those services and would rather save money, that would be the short-term medical. So that's a sample of how to go through the questionnaire. Remember, this sheet is not to be printed and written on. This is for an exercise as a guideline only so you can stay on track with your prospects. All right, hope you got some value from this. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.